Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Dan.
And we're the Geek All-Stars. And this is First Play, Second Play. We've already done one in the video series, and I'm going to try it again. And this time we're going to try it out with Warhammer40KConquest. And this game is from Fantasy Flight Games. It's part of the Living Card Game series. And it's set in the Warhammer 40K universe that was created by Games Workshop.
Now, if you're new to our series, the First Play, Second Play, what we do is we take a game that neither one of us has played before, and we go ahead and play it the first time and give you our thoughts after one play, and then we play it again to see how those thoughts have changed. The reason why we do this is a lot of times people will play one game, and they may not know all the nuances of the game or see all the cards, and they may have a sour view of it, but we want to play it again just to give you a little bit more. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that these are not how-to-play videos at all. If you want to see some how-to-play videos, go check out Rodney Smith or Joel Eady. They do some great job with some how-to-play videos. We're just here to tell you how things change over 1 and 2 plays and to give our opinions of the game.
Right. And we'll see how I have an opinion of the game because I'm an old school 40K player. So.
Now, I've also watched a couple of videos on it. I don't know how to play yet. Chris is going to teach me in a few minutes. He's the one that's read this one. And we're going to see how it is and how our expectations are. My expectation initially going into it is that I think it's going to be okay. I'm not quite sure. I like the LCG model, but there's limitations. So I want to hopefully it comes out a lot better than what I'm expecting from it.
We'll find out.
All right, so we're back. And after the first game, I'll give the I win icon to Chris in this terrible game of Conquest.
Not just win. I don't think the word win is the correct thing. I think obliterate.
Yeah. My orcs got obliterated by your Marines? Space Marines? Space
yes.
Marines? All right. So I'll let you go first. So.
Yeah, you're gonna let the calm person go first before we get into a little bit of the rant. I enjoyed it actually, but of course I won, and I won handily. Dan will get into it here in a minute. There does seem to be a little bit of the snowball effect, and I don't know whether that's intended by the game or it's just the game that we played first. Of course, we're gonna play it again so we can see what happens in it. For me, just a little bit of a background. I'm used to being an old school 40K player. Played for years and years and years. Still have my 40K stuff. Just don't have a chance to really play it very much. I've always been into the flavor of the universe, and I felt like everything that we did in the game thematically fit. And so I could see when the orcs did something, it made sense. Like even with the way they would perform in a 40K game, the Space Marines were the same way. So for me, it all kind of gelled and felt pretty good. Now,
well, it's just another location combat game to me. It doesn't do much different from Smash Up, from High Command, or even Defenders of the Realm Battlefield. It doesn't do anything new, in my opinion. It's whoever has the most tricks or can get the most things out or just happens to do things. It's just, happens to get the right thing out at the right time. I want a little more. I want that battle feel. I don't want a skirmish feel. I want a battle at these places. And it did feel a little snowbally because once you win the first planet, it's yours, and then everybody there goes back to HQ. And when you deploy your leader the next, everybody goes with them. So
that I thought was a little shocking, actually. I wasn't sure how they could come out, but when you're reading that, you saw that all the people came out. I mean, I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, but at the planet we just finished at, I had my leader and 4 guys came with him. Mm-hmm. And that's huge. Right. It's really, really big. It can sway that battle. It's interesting. I want to touch on one thing, though. You said, you used the word skirmish.
Right.
That is what 40K is.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a skirmish.
It's not a
game.
War.
That you could epic.
Right.
What the epic game where you have strategic movement of different troops in these large armies. That is more of what you're looking for. 40K is all about skirmish.
The other thing I didn't like is that there's battle effects on the planet. So you're really only getting a couple of resources here or there for winning certain planets, for being there. And this is from not knowing, and this is why we do this, the first play, second play. I kind of spread out early because I wanted to get cards and resources. So I won more planets, but you won the first planet.
You did win more the command struggles, which
right.
are the non-battles. The command struggles are basically like the kind of strategic spots on the different planets that you're vying for control.
So I was playing the long game.
You were, yes.
I was trying to play the long game, but it just never really worked out because you just went down the line and just obliterated every planet. Where I was trying to play the long game, and I lost a battle early, and it was mostly because you had a shield that. It was all these combat tricks. It was like I had you killed, no you don't. I had you killed again, and no you don't. It was like every time I did something, it was some sort of interrupt or something like that. And the Orc deck just didn't have that. And I was ready to do a ton of damage, and I just died because of combat tricks.
Yeah, what I was expecting out of the Orcs was more of a swarm tactic. I mean, that's what they are. I mean, they have big numbers and they have big strong units. I was expecting, like, if you get the Snotlings out, you can get a lot of people on the board. So I'll be really interested to see how the orc deck performs.
Well, I will admit too that I didn't have the greatest hand to start with because I had like a couple of
forgot.
fours. I had a couple of fours.
You can mulligan your first hand.
Okay.
I totally forgot about it. Of course, we didn't know the game well enough to even know if we
Right. Well, whether we needed to,
Yeah.
but I had such high cost guys that I really was only able to get a couple, and I got some really.
Well, this time we can know. Now you know the game better. We can both determine if we want to mulligan our first hands.
Right. We almost need to do one first play, second play, third play because
Right.
I have this strategy. I just want to just load up on the first planet every single time and just keep doing
We'll
that.
see
and
how that works
And see
for
if
you.
and see if each one of these other planets giving you resources and cards over if it outdoes the first planet strategy where you just put 4 guys and your leader. They go back to HQ. Your leader and all the guys
Just
come
keep
with you a
slamming.
second. Just keep slamming that
Yeah.
first planet. Now I don't want to do it now that I've told you, but it'd be interesting to see if that
It
strategy.
would be very interested to see if you would do that strategy, and then I use Exterminatus on it. So
Yeah. Well, no, that's non-first planet.
Oh, that's
though.
right.
See,
It
and
is
that's
non-first
and,
planet.
you know,
You're right,
cards
you're right.
like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. To
We'll
see.
see.
That. So we'll see how the second play goes. All right, so we're back after game 2, and it might be a little bit of hyperbole in the first one, just a little bit.
Maybe a little,
But I think I kind of almost, in a way, so I won the second game with the orcs, and in a way, I kind of did what I had said I was going to try to do, was kind of just pounded that first planet. So I pounded the first planet for 2 rounds, got 2 planets right off the bat, and also, did I get another battle ability that I did all the damage, or was that in the second round? So I did some damage, second round.
You did some damage, yeah.
So I did some damage to the, because I copied an ability from another planet, I did damage, which actually helped out quite a bit.
Right.
The third round, I let a planet go, and then the fourth round, we had a big battle to fight the, did a big battle for the, because it was a planet that I needed to win,
Right.
and you had to defend it.
Right.
And I ended up taking out your leader, but it was more or less for the planet anyway. So
Yeah, you would have won if you took over the planet. I felt like this one, I tried to play a little bit more of spreading people out more and play the long game because I saw the progression of the planets, and the way to win the game was what, two or three ways to win the game.
Right.
But one way to win the game is to match 3 icons that are on the planets. The other is to kill off the enemy warlord. And I saw how the planets were stacked up, so I kind of seeded the planets that were in the front to Dan while I tried to build up my forces, my Space Marine forces, because I have superior armor. I can last longer, but of course he's stronger with the orcs.
right, it was a little, and I swarmed a little bit.
You did. You got
early
your
on.
swarm going, yeah.
But I still want more out of this game. I mean, I'll give a little verdict after 2 plays. I mean, I didn't hate it as much as I hated in the first game. In the first game, I really got saddled with a bad hand. But it still remains, I don't see much different from some of the other battleground games. Like I said, Smash Up, even something as light as Smash Up, it's still a battleground game.
It is.
I mean, that's that's a very light example. Same thing, High Command, and I had given another example. Oh, and Battlegrounds, Defenders around Battlegrounds. Same thing where you're looking for 3 of the same type, and you're trying to use abilities and fighting over things. I want more out of these planets. I want not only a battle, I want a control. And give me a reason to control later other than just a resource. I mean, resources are huge. They're very, very important.
Very important.
But it's very easy to have a stalemate. I mean, with that. I don't know, I want more. I really, the problem is I don't hate it. I don't want to say a problem, but the good thing about it is I don't hate it as much as I did after the first game. So it leads me want to play some of the other factions just to see how different they are.
And I think that's really the strength of this game, especially for me. With someone who really gets into the 40K universe and the feel of it, I really love the theme and the idea that you can craft and build your decks depending on the factions that are in the base game. And they have 7 different factions in the base game. And so I'm thinking, like, I agreed with what Dan said in the first section of this when I first played, when he said it kind of had a snowball effect. It does, so you've got to try to manage that somehow. And I think with more plays, you would figure out better ways to sort of manage it, so you'd have it slightly closer. The only problem that I have with this game is it doesn't feel tight. It feels like there's not that hairpin moment where you could win or lose on one play. Both the first and the second plays have been kind of routes. And so it hasn't felt that tug of war. Like even when you're playing something like, we were talking about Hearthstone or sometimes even Magic, you might have a blowaway in one of those games, but a lot of them are tight because you can do some neat things from your hand. So I enjoy it for the 40K aspects. I'm actually looking forward to trying it with some different factions and seeing how they play it.
The other cool thing that we actually kind of noticed was we were talking about the HQ thing where when your leader goes to a planet and then everybody in the HQ goes, it's kind of a good way to to redeploy, because if it's not at the first planet, if you bring your leader to the second or third planet and your leader comes back, everybody else stays there. So that's a good
true.
way. And I kind of did that where I went to the second planet, left everybody there, and then came back. Not that I moved him anywhere else, but it was kind of where there was the big battle.
Yeah.
That was an interesting little facet that we kind of sparked.
Yeah, and I think as we explore this game a little further, it might be more readily apparent that, okay, well, we do want to send some more people to different planets and gain more command battles so that we can get more resources, more cards. We build up our force of special resources because they are just super vital. If you're left, even if you got a bunch of cards in your hand, if you don't have your resources, you can't play them.
Right. And I'll say, just in closing for myself, is that it's not a buy for me. It's a game that I really would like to play with Chris. So I'll have him, hey, make a couple of decks, come on over, and we'll play.
Right.
That's the way I look at it myself, and maybe it's just because I'm not a 40K guy.
Well, a couple people on Twitter while we were playing this game were asking how it stood up to something like Doomtown or Netrunner. Both Doomtown and Netrunner have some location battles and things like that. We recently played Doomtown, and I will say Doomtown is far more complex than this game. I felt like after this game I could probably sit down and build a deck and craft it, probably a little bit more than the average player, simply because I'm more familiar with the 40K universe.
Right.
But I don't feel like it would be overly daunting for me to build a deck in this one. Doomtown, absolutely.
No, there's no way. I love AEG, but I have no interest in building decks for Doomtown, because you've got to worry about making a high deck and making a low hand, and then worry about cheating. This, at least, I feel like I could at least make an educated guess. Even something with, like I said, something like Arcane Wonders, Mage Wars.
Mage
Wars. It seems like it would be a hard thing for me to actually make decks for that. So, because there's a lot of points involved, and you can always sway one way or the other. That's hard. At least here, they've got the faction wheel, and you can go to one side or the other,
right.
But you've got to worry about your faction. Or even if you just go mono faction, I'm sure there's going to be real good tricks with the blending three factions together.
I'm really excited to build an Imperial Guard Space Marine deck. Try to play around with the Imperial forces and
The shenanigans deck?
Yeah, the shenanigans deck. Yeah, Swarm / shenanigans deck. I'll put the Space Marine shenanigans in with all the Imperial Guard Swarm tactics, so that'll be pretty fun to do.
But I hope you enjoyed our second installment of First Place, Second Play. Please check out thegeekallstars.com and look for some more installments in the future.
We'll see you next time.